Hello, welcome once again to Sun Dragon Tips and Tricks, Rebecca at home. My hair is fluffier since last week when I just had a haircut. This is volume with curls now. Anyway, hi, I'm Rebecca. I always get off track. I didn't put my rings on before filming. I'm gonna put them on right now. I'm at home, so I don't always remember to put them on every morning, but hi, I'm Rebecca. I'm the owner of Sun Dragon Art and Fiber in Brevard, North Carolina, and I'm coming to you from my house today, and I do love wearing all my rings, but I got so caught up with trying to make some progress on my knitting and trying to do up my little cat eyes that I forgot to put all these on, so I'm showing you one by one all my rings. Isn't this fun? Okay, there we go. So, it's toasty, but not as toasty as those of you under the super crazy heat dome. This room does not get as much ventilation as the rest of my house. So we'll see how this goes today. Might be a little shorter today. I got some stuff coming up, but one of the things I wanted to mention is I had talked last week about doing a YouTube live just to just to try it out, because I've never done one of those before. And there was lots of advice and lots of thoughts, and I appreciate all of them. I'm still just gonna do a live and just see what happens. It could be completely like chaotic, and I'm realizing I don't have one of my rings on. Where did my... It's so weird when you're finally like, wait, I feel empty. Someone watching this was like, you didn't put your dragon on. It was hiding behind my pendle, which is something I want to talk about at a certain point. Like, it doesn't show up in the camera unless I bring it way back here. It's really fun. And we only have like we only have one left right now if we don't count the one that I'm using. Wow. I got this sample. Anyway, I'm squirreling. Let me calm down. Center and focus. And get back on track and try to keep things in an organized format. When I teach classes, I'm a little more organized. So, Facebook Live is what I do once a month with my staff for a free sit and stitch. YouTube Live, essentially like this, but y'all be able to interact with me. And someone mentioned, I think it was Deb, shout out to Deb, one of our regulars, you could film ahead of time and then put it live. I could do that with any of these guys. It's a thought, but I want to be able to, what I do on Facebook Live is when people put in questions, I just give you the answers instead of maybe typing them. And I could try, I think I'm going to try on my computer, because on the phone or on the computer are the easy ways to get going with that. And if you really want to have a high level interaction and all these multiple screens and other things going on, you have to have special equipment, and I don't have that. So, but drum roll, all those kind of things. Sorry, a little text came in that's distracting me, but all those important things. I asked people to comment or take a survey, and I was like, which time, 11, 3, or 7 of US Eastern time, which I know is different for everybody else. And the majority of votes were for the middle of the day for me, 3 p.m. I mean, it's not really middle. It's middle of the afternoon for me. Let's put it that way, 3 p.m. And I was going to have a conflict after I filmed last week. And then I was like, oh no, I'm going to have to switch it. I have resolved that conflict. So we're going to go with 3 p.m. next week, which is June 30th. It's the last day of June. In the future, I may want to try to do these on the first day of the month, but I just wanted to squeeze one in before I go on vacation. The first Monday. I get going, and then words come out weird. So the first Monday of the month, is what might happen in the future. But this very first one, not to be confusing, is happening next week. June 30th. Last Monday of the month, happens to be the last day of the month. I think that's what sent my brain into all these different directions, right? So last day of the month happens to be, it may not be in the future. I will try here to be announcing when things are happening. But since some of this channel has turned into more of almost a podcast type of thing, I'm going to see how it is to try it. lost my train of thought because I suddenly was like, if it's on the computer, do I want to have a microphone? I'll figure that out. I will figure that out before next Monday. And it could be that I am joining it. I'll see if I can join it maybe with both my computer and, yeah, I do that sometimes for the sit and stitch. Anyway, this is all stuff I can think about on my own time later, but YouTube Live next Monday, 3 p.m. Let's see what happens. For everyone who has recommendations and it's like, you could try this, you could do that, you could have someone else watching and they can moderate the questions. I already asked Liz to do way too much for me that I don't pay her for. And this is more to do some stuff to keep the shop going, to keep me going, since I am technically I'm not just technically, I'm self-employed. And it's just more ways for me to interact with you all. We're just going to wing it and see how it goes. And this entire channel I've kind of built on, I am not necessarily a professional YouTuber, but I think I'm providing something people want to see. So I'm not going viral necessarily. I am getting a lot of hits, especially for my Ranunculus sweater videos, which is awesome. And I'm doing what I can with other help videos, other things like that can be helpful. In fact, today I probably want to send out a whole bunch of YouTube links to people taking the Coach and Connect on the Flax. I've used separate lingos for things. So sit and stitch is something at the shop or virtual that's free. And that's really hang time. And Coach and Connect is virtual and it is, you pay a fee to join so you can ask lots of questions about what is going on with your knitting, your crochet, the project that you're on, those kinds of things. And so because it is using my professional expertise, there's a fee for it. We have the make along that's geared specifically for the project we're spending 2 months on, which right now for June and July is the Flax, the Make Your First Sweater, Flax by Tin Can Knits. The Coach and Connect for the Flax is going really well. We just had a session last Saturday, it's a couple days ago, and people were showing progress. It's a way to connect to other people and connect to us. And it was specific around that project that we're spending 2 months on. But we're also going to be doing a general Coach and Connect. And that I think is really useful. I have several people saying, can you help me with this sweater? Can you help me with that one? And can I make an appointment with you virtually? And that's really hard for me to do all the virtual appointments. And I've had people saying, like, everyone gives me advice and I love it. And I welcome it. I may not be able to do it. It was like, well, just schedule that time into your work day, the same as you would schedule it into, schedule my one-on-one in-person appointments. And sometimes just switching from virtual to customers it gets a little funky. And it's hard. I wouldn't have as much time for the virtual appointments, doing them one-on-one, like scheduling them within my day as I do for the in-person, or like the in-person take priority during the work day when I'm at the shop. And that's mostly because I can sit down and really, there's a different level to working with someone in person than doing it virtually. And that's why my prices are different for in-person versus virtual. Because I don't feel like I can offer the same level of help virtually that I can in person. But I know there's a lot of people who are in yarn deserts or places where they can't get the assistance they're looking for. And so I like to try to do the best I can with that virtually as well. So what we're going to try to do is once a month, we are going to have a general coach and connect, where it's $25 to join. And you can either just automatically be able to join that if you're at a Patreon patron level, a tier they call them, of $25 or above. Or I'm trying to make it flexible, so if people have questions about knit or crochet or just want to try it once to see if it's something they want to be a part of, then they can purchase it through our online shop for the current month that we are in. And that's going to happen the last Saturday. No, I just can't get my words straight. That's going to happen the last Sunday. And that's going to happen the last Sunday of every month, which this month in June is going to be June 29th. It's actually the day before the Facebook Live. And so you can purchase access. I will email out the Zoom links to the tiers that have earned it over on Patreon. I'll probably send a message. I think that gets to everyone, like an email is sent out to everyone. Or I will email it to the people who've purchased the 25. So we had some really good classes recently. I had a class on understanding cables in the shop, and that worked really well. That's something that I think could be a lecture class online later, or potentially I could make some videos, but I'm finding the YouTube videos, the production that goes into it, I've had some people who said, it's okay, you don't need to edit, we'll just watch. And I just made a video for my patrons, and it turns out over on Patreon, I was like, I'll make different videos where I'm explaining things, or longer versions of what I did for morning meditation, and I'll post them. Yes. If you can hear that, that is what it sounds like when Freya meows with a fake mouse in her mouth. It sounds more like a howling type of, I don't even know what. Anyway, so to get back to it, I had just finished for my class, which I've heard that some people want a virtual class on this. I'm thinking about later in the year, for the 2 at a time toe up socks. I have the second session of that in person on this Saturday, and I did my heels. I know they look like little slippers right now, but I did my heels. I filmed the second one without editing, just talking through the whole entire heel. It came out to be about an hour. And it turns out Patreon won't, your videos over on Patreon have to be 10 minutes. So I posted it in like 6 chunks. It was kind of silly. But so I'm trying to figure out ways to get other information to people, especially if they can help support me as a creator and as a teacher. And so the virtual classes or lecture series are part of that. And I think cables can be that. I think the socks class could be that. It's always interesting because some of these things I have videos out there, but people would like to sit and interact and ask questions. And I get the value of that. But what I found with the in-person, there's time to do things and look at things and see things. With virtual, I have found what works best is, again, making it more of a masterclass lecture series where it's a little bit above just watching me do it on YouTube. There's you can break in with questions. I can answer questions as I go, but it is not as interactive as it could be. And what I want to try to do with the general Coach and Connect is make it be more interactive. And instead of just being on one topic where everyone's just watching. And I usually have several devices set up. We'll see if I can do that with the Coach and Connect. There's a really good chance I can if it's virtual here at home. The Coach and Connect for the for the make-alongs, has been a little more low-key in that I don't have as many different devices going that I can see what's going on and stuff. But I'm hoping the general Coach and Connect, we can kick it up a level with devices, but kick it down a level in terms of the focus and the whiteboard and the lecture and the series that I usually make, the masterclass. Then I record it, and that's one of the reasons it's not as interactive. So this wouldn't be as a recording, the Coach and Connect. But the Facebook Live will have the ability to be viewed later. So this is all experiments, and thank you all for participating. But if you would like to pay for assistance, there's ways to do that now. So to get some more time with me, you might have to share it with other people, but that's how I can work it into my schedule. Long story, incredibly long. That's how I can get into my schedule with everything else going on, is if we all kind of share the space a little bit. So I've already showed off a couple projects here. My 2 at a time toe up socks. This is the one for class on Saturday. I think I switched colors between the multicolor to the yellow for the heels again. And I think I'm leaving it at this point. So with my class, I can talk about once you're done with both heels, you need to knit across them to start going in a circle again. So I have one more half row to do with the yellow before I go back into my socks. So that's that. And I'm trying to get that out of the way for everything else. This will be interesting for Saturday's class. I've started socks with another ball of yarn. This is some West Yorkshire spinners that we have that I'm going from the inside and the outside of. I finally made progress. They've been sitting with just a cast on basically in one row. I have little mini toes. Sorry, I just got startled because the cat is under the table and she's knocking over paintings. I have little mini toes. I'd like to get them to the heels. I think I might do a false heel wherever I'm at by Saturday, because I doubt I can knit. Like these took me 3 weeks because I have so many projects going, So I'm trying to keep these not tangled up with the other projects I wanted to show you today. This one, to get back to the cables a little bit, this is the Elizabeth scarf by Lisa Hahn. And these are cables. They might just look like weird texture stitches. I'm doing it with the Sammy cotton. This is going to be kind of like the Sophie scarf by PetiteKnit, but it's going to have cables in it instead of just garter. And these are cables in cotton though. And they still look pretty, but the stitch definition and the structure is going to be different. And it's going to be different depending on the type of cotton you use. There's so many things that can change your knitting or change how your knitting or crochet looks. And I didn't bring home, just realizing, didn't bring home one of my crochet projects that I wanted to show y'all. So maybe if I remember during the live, but the bouncing around. But I don't want to neglect my crocheters who watch this channel. I finished my hippie boho sling bag. That was essentially 3 granny squares folded to make triangles from the front or the back with a strap. I finally finished that, but I put it on display in the shop, so I forgot to bring it home. But I thought of that both because I think about our crocheters as well as our knitters, and also because that was made with this vegan silk eucalyptus yarn. And it's definitely got a different structure and a different stretch than if I made it out of cotton. Even double crochets can have a different structure and a different stretch. I still remember the first time that I made a top out of a fancy Vintage Knits, really cute t-shirt, top book. And it said DK, so I found a DK that was inexpensive at Joann's, and I made this top with lace and all these weaving lines around the lace, and I'm like, why doesn't it look like the picture? It fits, but it feels bulky, and that picture doesn't look bulky. And it's because not all DK yarns are the same. I was using, it might have been a wool acrylic blend. It might have been all acrylic. It was what I could afford. And that's, sometimes we have to knit with either what we have the budget for, or what's available to us. But switching from what the pattern writer used, and sometimes what the pattern writer used is just not something you're going to have access to, especially if it's a yarn made in another country. Although I will say most yarns we carry are not made in the United States. That's just kind of the nature of the beast. But it could be people in the UK and Europe have access to different yarns than people in the US do. It's not universal anymore, not that it ever really was. But there used to be fewer places you could get yarn, so more people had access to the same stuff. And now there is just such a complex world of yarn out there. It's both awesome and it's kind of challenging when you're trying to figure out, well, what should I make this out of if I want it to look like the pattern? Like we always talk about, you want to get the same gauge as the pattern writer if you want it to come out the same size, roughly. And that means testing your gauge because everyone knits differently. But then there really is something to be said for not all yarns that are in the same chunk of labeling are going to knit up the same. Not all, especially number 5 is one I think I struggle with, especially in what we offer in the shop. People come in saying, I need a chunky yarn, bulky or chunky, depends on the pattern writer, the place it's being produced, the labeling system, but a number 5, so bigger than worsted, which is kind of right in the middle, and not as big as super bulky. Although super bulky has the same issues. They're like, it needs to be a chunky yarn, and we'll present them with what we have, and what we have, like our Ultra Wool Chunky, is kind of more of an Aran weight in the US system. It's not a robust chunky. And they do the pattern that calls for a more fuller chunky. And they're like, why isn't this working? Why do I need twice as much yarn? There's a lot of whys. And then like yarns like Malabrigo, one of their super bulkies is really such a light super bulky, such a thinner super bulky that anything we have that's super bulky is going to be way too thick for it. We're not going to have a comparable yarn. So that's why often we will look up, when you come in with a pattern or ask about a pattern, we will look up, okay, what yarn does it use? Like we'll look on Ravelry for what's the fiber content, how many yards per ball is it? Is it a chainette or is it a twist? Because that will affect, and if we switch those, if you're like, you like a yarn and we're like, well, that's the right thickness, but it's a different construction, it's going to behave differently. We try to warn people. We're not trying to be either snobby or talking people out of buying yarn, because we got to sell yarn, right? But we want people to know what they're getting into. Like I would rather lose a sale than sell people something that they're going to be unhappy with, or they're going to think that we misled them on. And sometimes there's communication difficulties. So what we're trying to communicate does not impact the listener the same way, and we still have people who are disappointed. But we do what we can. So yeah, the complexities to running a yarn shop, the complexities to using yarn, it really depends on how fixed you are on things looking a certain way. And like we have people who come in and say, well, I can't use cotton or I can't use wool, and sometimes there's health reasons for that. But sometimes it's just cotton's going to grow or cotton's going to shrink. I've heard both of them. And I think it depends on the construction of the cotton. And not all cottons are the same. Not all wools are the same. And sometimes you need to test it out before you're going to know what's going to happen with it, which is annoying because I'm like everyone else. I want to just make my project and have it be done and be able to be wearing it, right? But it's kind of why I like some projects that you have this whole there's flexibility to what you can use, and that changes. You don't know how it's going to turn out potentially until you make it, but that can be really fun. So yeah. I went off on a tangent here, and I don't even know if I'm going to remember enough of what I talked about to be able to make it the title of this video, but it's been fun. So let me update you a little bit on what I've been doing. A lot of this stuff is on barber cords right now from trying it on the Sun Dragon Sideshow. But this guy, my key sweater that I love, I really don't think he's much further along than the last time I tried him on. So I don't think I'm going to try him on today. But that is made with Juniper Moon Patagonia. And we still do need to update the shop on the colors, but we need to update on a lot of things. So during the sit and stitch, I had not yet gotten to sleeve separation on my flax. But I separated a sleeve. I can't try this on because I'm not through all of my increases, but I can show you, hang on, how the Fiji, how this color is knitting up. It's really fun and bright, and it's not going to be a color that everyone wants to wear. But I'm going to do it just because. These aren't the colors I would have picked for myself, but sometimes they can be surprising, and I will still wear them, and I bet I'll still get compliments, whether or not I think it looks good on me. Because you'd be surprised. What does and doesn't look good on people is not always what they think looks good on them, but there's a whole level to it where if you're uncomfortable in the color, you're not going to feel like it looks good on you, and maybe it won't, in that you are not presenting your most confident self. It's not that it doesn't look good. It's that if you feel like it doesn't, you're not going to be your full authentic self in that. So, which is psychologically tough, right? But I showed people how sleeve separation would work. So I have one sleeve that I'm going to have to put back on the needles, and I have one that's not separated. But this still needs a bit more increases before, and short rows before I could actually separate it. So might work on that this week. This is fun. I don't think I had finished. I'm like looking at y'all like you can answer back. I finished a ball of yarn and did the sleeves on this, and I can't remember if I had done it before or after I filmed last week. But I can put it on again for y'all. I've definitely knit a few more rows on the torso of this, and this just happens to be on, don't have Liz to pull this down for me. This just happens to be on barber cords because I'm gonna floof the back a little and see if that yeah, it's still up a little high, but I can't reach. Let me do this. Here we go. Da-da. I have, and I'm yanking on this, I think it's mostly coming down. Oh, everyone just gets to watch me be awkward. I've knit a few more rows and I finished the sleeves. I think I finished the sleeves at work, so y'all haven't seen this. I found, in the second ball, and it's molding to my boobs right now, my girls. Side note, if it flares funny like this and you're like, that's not right. See how that's still kind of floofed up in the back. It's because it's sticking to the shirt that I'm wearing. Try not to take this as a sign that it's gonna flare, because I could just find, I don't have the barber cord end, it's in the back, but if I do this, that is more emblematic of how this is going to fall. And so I'm gonna sit back down again. The sleeve separation was right about here, and I balled off to the same spot on the colors on the second ball so I could make my sleeves match. I actually did them 2 at a time, and I knit what felt like, it might have shrunk up a little bit, 3 inches past sleeve separation. So from here down, and then about 1 inch of ribbing. And it was hard to tell. I want to say, I'm now remembering I was trying it on for y'all. I put it on the barber cord, and someone's probably already made the comment like, you were here. I put it on the barber cord so we could try to see. And I think I knit a little bit more, and then I did the ribbing. So they kind of coordinate with each other. And then I went back to here and I started knitting. Sleeve separation is this dark green. And it was just after, I think it was at the brown here, where my first skein ran out. So I haven't made a ton of progress since I finished the sleeves because I was trying to work on some other things. But I think this is coming along nicely, and I'm hoping it'll only take 2 skeins of the Sonata Shima. So, but this room's getting toasty when you're wearing 2 sweaters. So, whoo! And I always take it off in the opposite direction that I should. So that's progress on that one. What I made the most progress on this weekend around the corners of making toes is, and I wanted to show to you all, is I felt like it was going to take forever, and I kept knitting. And I kept knitting, and it kept not getting longer. So this is how my Luminous Summer top is going. I made it to sleeve separation. I'm so excited. And after sleeve separation, it had short rows. And so right now I'm going to know what the back is, because where I started, like my beginning of my cast on, is in the back. So my sleeves are on barber cords. They're black, so they're very hard to see. I am using the Noro Natsumeki, which is 60% cotton, 25% silk, 15% polyamide. And this colorway is knitting up gorgeously in stripes. They all stripe. Pretty much, unless it looks pretty solid in the skein, it's going to stripe. That's just the way it is. And I don't know if I brought home my other sweaters and stuff, but this is the last one I really wanted to talk to you guys about. This is the one since I'm going from the outside of the ball, I've been using my Likey Pendle, which has been really fun. One of our customers, this has been in existence for a little while from Likey. I know it's probably Likey, but I say Likey. I'm American, you know. It's like IKEA. I've been told IKEA is actually pronounced differently if you're in the native country. So this thing, which looks all cool, and this is how much I have left of my first skein, by the way, but I'm still in my first skein. But right now, that is just pulling off of it. But when it had more on it, this couldn't just move around by itself. This whole thing twists. And here's the cool thing about this twisting and being free floating. It's a magnet. I think it's so cool. So instead of something that spins on the table, but you could just leave this on the table if you wanted to. You could just leave that on a surface and pull off of it. Or you can have it dangling with a really strong magnet. Now, some people with medical issues may not be able to get near that kind of magnet. But so what, I'm almost done with this ball. So what I would do is take the pendle part off. And once this runs out, or, you know, I want to switch stuff. And I would just stick this guy. Let me get the tag off. Oh. I would just stick this guy. It works best for something that you can punch through the center of, that you want to pull from the outside of. So different than a center pull that you might want to use a yarn bowl for. But if you like pulling from the outside of the ball, I now have it on there. And I will attach it. And then when I'm pulling off of this, I can just, now it's going to get caught in the tag because I haven't taken the tag off yet. But that just rotates on there. It's really fun. Really, really fun. But I think we only have one left because we had this massive sale this weekend and 2 people walked away with them. They're not in the online shop yet. I know I need to put more stuff in the online shop. I'm also trying to not collapse. And some people are like, you've said that before. I'm so over it. And I get it. So I brought, there they are. Okay. The end of my barber cord pack, which is the 60-inch cord. And by the way, I have some stuff that I just found that we were going to test thicker barber cords. We won't call them barber cords because that's the Knitting Barber makes those. But if we wanted thicker sweater project cords, I'll probably call them. I might actually test them and start making packages for those. So stay tuned for that too. I am going to put this on and slide all my stitches onto it. And I was saying last week, it is all about when you are, I'm trying to get most of the stitches up close here. When you're sliding them, to be really gentle. And if you need to push more up, put your finger over that connection so the pushing up doesn't force the tip off. I gotta do this a little out of camera because the angle, the weight of the sweater won't let me do that. But anytime I'm pulling a lot and it's not right at this join, like right now these stitches are falling really nicely, but I'm gonna keep them from yanking on that connection right there if I can. Okay. And right now they're sliding along the cord really well. Sometimes they'll get stuck on the cord and then I need to grab this and push them down. So now all my sweaters are gonna be on barber cords really, and I get to pick which one comes off so I can work on it more. I really would love to get to the second skein of this yarn. I'm hoping this will only need 2 skeins, but these skeins are 150 grams with a lot of yardage on them as opposed to 100 grams. So, all right. Got it all on the barber cord. There's a lot of excess cord because the stitches are all bunched on. I'm gonna do my little balloon tie. And I'm gonna spread my stitches out. I might have to yank this back in, but I might not be able to yank it back in, so this might look a little flared. Still trying to, there we go. There we go. Look how wide that is when it's not on the sewing needle. I find it's very deceptive when it's all bunched up on a sewing needle. Okay, so I haven't tried this on yet. We're gonna see if it fits, but it should. I'm on a 9 needle instead of a 7, and I'm still not totally getting gauge. My stitches were still a little small, so I did some magic math with this, and I went up a size in hopes that it would come out the size that I want, but that's not a guarantee. I did the magic math. So this feels very roomy though, just looking at it right now. So I'm gonna fluff the back. I think the weight of this is such that it's not ganging up on me like the other one. This does, someone was like, that's a wide neck. Yes, it is a wide neck. It's supposed to be, and it's not gonna look like, oh wait, this is Luminous Summer and not, I'm confusing it with another one I'm making. Luminous Summer by Minimi Knit Designs. It's gonna look a little funny because I'm trying it on and you can see my shirt. But that, oh, that looks great. And I've done one set of, there's a little bit of an A-frame to this where you increase a little bit as you go. But look at that. That is gonna be so pretty. And there's not much more that happens with these sleeves. But this is sleeve separation right now. I'm just trying to like, let it flop a little more. It's a nice, loose, pretty, there's not much going on with the pattern other than some eyelets up here, which with the Nora yarn you can't even see. But I wanted people to be able to see how the Nora knits up. And that was the point of this one, right? So this is really, really pretty. Yeah, and it's sitting a little funny because my shirt underneath sits a little funny. But woohoo! Okay. Just holding it up though. I'm gonna try to hold up like this. This is probably gonna be like the cover for the video of seeing how this looks. Isn't that great? That is really cool. I'm loving that. I'm really loving that. It's always fun to test and try things on as you go, because then you can feel some more satisfaction. I wanted to get past the short rows, which added a little bit here, but we were talking about this on Coach and Connect, getting at least an inch or so past sleeve separation before you try things on to see how good or crazy things are going. So This is something, once I make it, I'll probably wear it without a t-shirt underneath, which means I might have to launder it a little bit more, you know, but that's okay. It's coming out well, and it was taking forever to get to sleeve separation, and now I feel like the rows are flying because those sleeve stitches are not part of it. It's more at like 150 stitches instead of 400. Not 150, 250. Oh my gosh, 250 instead of 400, and that might not seem like it's a huge reduction, but it's enough that I'm flying through. I'm actually wanting to knit it again. But this is the spot where I usually stall out, so we shall see. Past sleeve separation is usually when I get a little bit bored with something, but I'm so close with some of these to being able to wear them this summer. That will be fun. This one, I have this much left of the first skein. I will probably, most likely, finish the sleeves first. Like when this runs out, it's my opportunity to, with the new ball, which I'll take off my pendle to show, I will finish the sleeves off. And it's, to me, it's okay with this yarn if they don't completely match. I think there's just a little bit of edging on the Luminous Summer. There's not long sleeves. There's just a little bit of like lace work, which like yarn over knit two together type of stuff, which with a busy yarn, you may or may not see, but I'll know it's there. And then all the yarn that's left can be used for my torso. It's the same thing I'm doing with my ranunculus right now, just to see how far I can get. So, as I am overheating here, I'm going to sign off. I have some other stuff to do this afternoon. I will try to get this video up as soon as I can. Probably not till after my other appointments, but Coach and Connect, General Coach and Connect is $25 on Sunday, 2 to 4 p.m. You can buy that through our online shop, or if you're a Patreon member at $25 or above, you will get the code. And then next Monday, which, so the Sunday, Coach and Connect, is June 29th. June 30th, next Monday, a week from today, I will be trying my first live on YouTube, and we'll just see what the heck happens. I have no idea how that works. I mean, I've done a little research, but I like the idea of, are there ways we can interact directly? So that won't cost anything. There might be some ads that pop up around the edges or something else. I have no idea. Again, I have no idea how that works. But I thought the idea of doing one of these where we just go live and we see, I say we, I'm the one doing it. I go live, I see what happens, I interact with y'all, it's fun. We'll see what happens next Monday at 3 p.m. US Eastern Time. Oof, I'm at that age, I just kind of choke on myself. So join me next Monday at 3 US Eastern Time. Let's see what happens. Let's see how fun it is and if we want to keep doing it. And if you would like to get help on a project, join us for the Coach and Connect on the 29th. And that one you do have to buy into, but the YouTube Live you do not. As I always like to sign off, may your crafting be filled with joy and confidence. I'll see you next week for the YouTube Live. Bye.